Yo, it's Mo, and I'm in here. Thank you for listening to the Mix of Black Girl Magic podcast on Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you guys. Download Anchor. Yo, it's Mo, and thank you guys for tuning in to episode 9 of the Mix of Black Girl Magic podcast. It's your host with the most, yo, it's Mo, and I'm happy you guys decided to check out this episode. Of course, I've got some great topics that we can discuss. There's been so much going on, and right now, because of everything that's going on, and in order to be able to touch base on everything, we're just going to title this one Spooky Season, because I mean, it's getting spooky out here. It's kind of spooky, and just with it being spooky season, and with so much going on in the spooky season, I feel like it's appropriately titled. However, I want you guys to kind of go on a journey with me, and in honor or in lieu of it being spooky season, I'm kind of feeling like I'm on a haunted house tour. And so I want you guys to feel that with me, or like haunted house tour. We're in a horror movie of some sort, and this is our life. So thank you to the Black lesbians that are tuning in, all the LGBTQ community, and our cis allies. Y'all are dope. Thank y'all for coming through. I see you. You're valid. You matter. And let's get right into it. Ooh, it's spooky season. Okay, good. So, it's a normal day in fall, autumn, October. The leaves are changing, it's kind of cool but not cold. And you got on your hoodie or whatever from Solidarity&Co. That is a plug, but that's not a plug. You're cozy, chilling, hanging out. And then, bam, you get onto social media. And in this instance, it's like social media is you walking into the door of this haunted house or this spooky house on your block. So I'm there, guys. I'm at the door of this spooky haunted house, and I kind of was nervous about going in here. I didn't really feel like this would be a good idea, but I decided to try it anyway. And a girl likes to take risks. So, as the girl has walked through the door of this spooky haunted house, it has led to usually the first stage of a horror film or haunted house tour, just the discovery. You're walking inside, you're getting a feel for the environment, you're taking in the smells and, discovering a cobweb here, or a spider there, a crack in the floor, the texture of the walls. All of that is similar to how it feels to me when I'm logging on to Instagram daily. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And I wake up with this kind of feeling of wanting to nervously and anxiously see what's going on social media. And I hope I'm not the only one who feels like this. If you guys feel like this at all, please leave me a comment. Please, let me know in some realm. I'm going to, of course, tag all my social medias and all that in the description so that you guys can hit me up. And let me know, if you can relate to this feeling. So here we are in the state of discovery. And discovery right now for me is in this spooky season is like entering into this haunted house, and when I get in there, it's like, okay, I'm in here. I probably shouldn't be. I know I don't own it, but I want to look around. I want to see what's going on. And what I found in this haunted house, guys, is community. I didn't expect that to be inside of this creepy haunted house, so to speak, where, sometimes there are bad guys under the stairs, or, mean people ready to pop out the closet. But I found community in that space, and it's like, you probably shouldn't feel so comfortable in this haunted house. So I never get too comfortable, but that community that I found caused me to continue to kind of walk around and see what was going on. So let's just say, we turned a corner, and once I turned this corner from the entryway, I ran into community, and it kind of scared me. It shook me a little bit, but it wasn't enough to make me leave out the building. I found these communities, and I wasn't sure how I would fit in or if I would be embraced, but I had that nervous energy going, and it caused me to continue to move. And within those communities, I realized that I was needed here. It was something in this haunted house that drew me in and made me feel as if I actually had a place there. There was something that I could say or see that maybe other people had overlooked. And, that for me is very, similar to what happens in a lot of freaking horror movies. It's like some random person walks into this random spooky house, and then once they get in there and start rummaging around in some way, it's like that person, spoiler alert, becomes the one person who was supposed to be there or needed to be there to finish the job, or to, bring this spookiness, for lack of a better term, to an end, or to make it safer for everybody. And so I felt needed once I dared to walk into this space of discovery, and once I saw all the communities that existed, I then realized that I was needed too, and I had a place here. And that feeling of inclusion, the feeling that I actually had something to offer in this space, started to connect me to all these validating resources. So the validating resources part is as if, you're in this spooky haunted house, and then you find like a what do you call those things? A freaking, let's say, a book full of like magic potions, or you find like that thing that's glowing that nobody saw before. You guys, I hope you're walking with me here, because I'm having fun with this analogy, if you can't tell. But these validating resources, it's like, yeah, you put your hand on the book and it glows, but then like the other person in the movie puts their hand on the book and it does absolutely nothing, and you realize that like your hand on this book is valid, like you were needed to finish that off. And so that's how this makes me feel, and so I'm just really excited right now in this spooky season to be in this haunted house, and to have had that nervous energy to walk into this scary space, and dare to find communities, and dare to believe that I was needed, and then to have those connections that were validating. It's just beautiful. So my spooky season, I don't know how you guys feel, but mine's been related to this haunted house theory, and I'm running with it. So that's where we are now. I really hope, if you guys can relate, go for that. It's also spooky because there's so much shit going on. Like, we're approaching an election. Everybody's like voting early. If you haven't voted early, do that. But I'm sure if you're listening to this, like my people, my kind of people are already voting, because y'all are dope. I found so much history, y'all. And if you know Mo, you know I love history. Okay, I'm all about this. And apparently October has been designated LGBTQ History Month. And I don't know why nobody told me this, but I have had so much fun in this spooky season finding out all of our history, finding more history. Episode 3 of this podcast, it gives some a real speed or a flash dating kind of history. But with this LGBTQ History Month, I was able to go back in and indulge in those and even find some more resources. So one of the accounts that I ran up on was lesbian representation, at lesbian representation on Instagram. And I'm telling you, her posts are short, sweet, to the point, but it gave me what I needed. It gave me enough to find those first black lesbian women to do something, the first black lesbian women in politics and in Congress and in sports. Okay, these athletes, these actresses. It just really gave me what I needed to feel good about what was going on. And so I definitely took time to share some of that through my Instagram account, Solidarity&Co, at Solidarity&Co. If you don't already follow me, go and follow me, guys. I really appreciate it. But I tried also to steer clear for a minute from just learning, LGBTQ history, but I wanted to really dive into black lesbian history because I feel like there was so much of that left out. I was cheated in my education on learning about women who were like me and as incredible as I am. And so finding that history is so validating. I think it's important to know your history, especially for black women, black people, period, because so much of it has been erased. And in the black LGBTQ community, we get kind of boxed into being these artsy people or flamboyancy, whatever, when in fact it's some of us are fucking brilliant, blow your mind, doing things that you guys people really would have never given us credit to do. And so today I watched Oprah a segment or a series really just honing in on visionaries. And one of the visionaries I came across was Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry, for me, y'all, is such a big inspiration to what black LGBTQ history can become, or what black LGBTQ people have the ability to create and do in this world. And it's also important to, tap into the fact that I'm inspired by the fact of his ownership and him marching to the beat of his own drum, but still staying true to black culture. And a lot of times we get pushed out of that. A lot of times we get pushed out of the church or whatever. And that shit feels horrible, especially when those are the fundamentals of why you are who you are. Or what makes you the type of person that you are, the type of person who is able to withstand the, ridicule, harassment, being shunned. And then for him to use that hurt and pain and channel it into his art and creativity is super dope. So he's not a lesbian, but I think it is validating for me because I'm someone who grew up in the church and who grew up in that Christianity. And then I see this guy who is a multi-passionate creative. Shout out Joy Knows How at Joy, JOI.KNOW.HOW. And that brings me to the collective that I joined. So I joined the Joy Knows How collective during the spooky season. And that allowed me to embrace a community of people who are like myself that are multi-passionate creatives. So if I would have never, in the spooky season walked into this haunted house, guys, where I knew there was something probably under the stairs. I knew there was going to be a cobweb somewhere, and I hate freaking spiders. Or I would have never known that my hand was the hand that could be placed on the book to make the light shine, so to speak. This is where I found community, and so far I'm enjoying it. This collective of people who are passionate about multiple things and don't like to be boxed in or don't like to be insulted as being a jack of all trades and a master of none. I think we are just people who care to show our best selves when our best selves encompass creativity as a whole and not just one form of creativity. You're in arts, you're allowed to be a multi-talented, and I think that's what it is. People want to, deem you as a triple threat or a double threat, But what about like the girls that are like quadruple, innumerable? Like I can't even name the number of talents, not to brag, but it just seems that, when as a woman, as a black woman, as a black lesbian woman, I've tried to exhibit or display my talents, it has often backfired. And that's what allowed me to create this podcast, because I wanted to talk about those things that often make us feel like we aren't good enough, and to really push the fact that like we've been good enough and our history just was hidden. The fact that we were so dope, people were trying to hide. Another thing that I've approached during this spooky season was on Netflix. So I really tuned into LGBT movies on Netflix. One of the ones that really hit home was Eliza and Marcella, and it's basically a couple who were the first women to be married in the world, but they did it through, let's just say, a very risky method. And that movie, Eliza and Marcella, was very enlightening because it's a part of history that wasn't shared. But to know that we aren't the first generation of pioneers, that women, and especially lesbian women, have been pioneering since literally the beginning of time, is very interesting. Gay men and drag queens, and our history has just been erased, but we've been pioneering since the beginning of time. And I want to make that I hope that sinks in with you all, because for me it's really important to keep myself educated on my history and to try to educate others. So during LGBTQ History Month, guys, I really hope that you find a way to share some history, to find a way to validate yourself further, and I guarantee there is a black LGBTQ person like you in history. They just didn't want you to know because they didn't want you to be gay, but the joke's on them because we are who we are. In the spooky season too, like I wanted to do the fall thing, so I was like, babe, let's go get us some pumpkins and paint pumpkins. Let's just sit outside when it's cold and when it's warm. Let's go ride and watch the leaves fall. Those things in the spooky season are relevant. We want you to still be practicing self-care and caring for yourself, and I think having some fun. I also saw that Lena Waithe was coming out with a horror movie on Hulu. Lena Waithe is a black lesbian director, if you guys didn't know, and she is awesome. Worked with the likes of Ava DuVernay. She has been bigged up in this industry, and so I'm excited about watching that movie in a few days. Today itself was International Pronouns Day. My pronouns are she, her, and hers, and if you have been misgendered at any time by me, please let me know. I always aspire to engage with people as they want to be called, because it's their choice of their gender, not mine, and I respect that. I hope that you all are doing the same. And if you could, guys, as a result of listening to this podcast, which I sincerely appreciate, go and put your pronouns in your bio on Instagram. Make sure you're following me, your host with the most. Yo, it's Mo. I am on Instagram at Solidarity&Co. you'll see my pic. I posted a picture and I made it my profile from Bay and I going out to a date and then hitting up a little art show. It was one of the few times that I've gotten dressed, girl, because right now the kid is in a t-shirt. Hair is like half up, half down. It's a mess. I got a little brewski going here, and I'm just trying to come to you guys, get you updated with what's going on with me, how I feel about the spooky season. And guys, shit is spooky. It is what it is. But we've got to stay connected. We've got to stay in tune. We can make change. Y'all, please go out and vote. Please use your platforms to engage and to let others know how to engage with these movements going on. And stay dope. Any black girls that are lesbian, hit me up, please. I'm looking to network. I'm looking for people who I can interview on my podcast, so I'm not just talking to myself all the time. But I enjoy it. I like to just vent and get my shit off and let y'all do y'all thing. Yo, it's Mo if you didn't know, and I appreciate you tuning in to the mix of Black Girl Magic. See you next time, guys. Or hear you next time. Whatever. Y'all know what I mean. Bye.